Yo, what up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Newton's second law, which says that the net force is equal to mass times acceleration. And in this quick video, I'm going to show you how to find the net force, but not only the net force. What if they ask you for the acceleration? What if they ask you for the mass? I'm going to show you how to do these real fast so you can solve those problems. Okay, so the easiest scenario is that they give you the mass and the acceleration, in which case you can just multiply them together. In this case, a 15 kilogram box is accelerating 9 meters per second squared, and you just have to multiply those, and that gives you the net force. But what if they ask you for the acceleration and say they give you the net force and mass? How would you find the acceleration? Imagine you're dividing both sides of the equation by m, because in algebra you can do that. You can add something, multiply something, divide something. As long as you're doing it by the same number on each side, it's a legal move. So here we divided both sides by m, and the reason we did that is because we could see that dividing the right side by m will get rid of the m's. All right, and so what you're left with is acceleration is net force divided by mass. So that allows us to answer a question like this, where you have a object, you know the weight of it, you know the mass of it, and you know the net force on it. And if you know those two things, you can find the acceleration by dividing net force on top, mass on the bottom. So this object was experiencing a acceleration of 20 meters per second squared. Okay, so we know how to find the net force, how to find acceleration. What if it's an unknown mass and we only know how fast it's accelerating and we know how much force is on it? Could we find that mass? Well, yes, you can. Here you go. You divide both sides by a. The a's cancel out on that side. So you have that mass is equal to net force divided by acceleration. So you would just use one of these equations depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for acceleration, you take the net force divided by mass. If you're looking for mass, you take the net force divided by acceleration. All right, so here's an example of finding the mass. And so if we know that there's a net force of 200 going up, and we know an acceleration of 800 meters per second squared, then we can find the mass. Mass would be 200 divided by 80, which would be 2.5 kilograms. Okay, now what if there are more than one force? And the answer will be found in our next video in the series, which is going to show us how to use Newton's second law when there's more than one force. Hope to see you there.